Hey everybody, welcome to G for G here on YouTube. Today we are back in the Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux or MAAR Alpha that I currently have access to. And the topic of today's video is what to expect when you are expecting Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux. So this is a little bit of a two-part video. Before I get into some more alpha gameplay, I wanted to discuss with you guys my origins for Marvel Avengers Alliance, as this has become a little bit of a topic lately on the MAA Redux Facebook group. So this video is going to kind of be a catch-all of a lot of things. You're going to find out what more stuff about when the game goes live. I will have a Discord link in this video. I will have the Facebook link in the description of this video. I kind of want this one to be a more modern one-stop shop of where people can go to kind of wait in the lobby until it's their turn, so to speak. Again, I want to state right at the beginning of the video, this is an alpha that Goofy Troll is working on. I'll give you a little bit of a brief history there. So the brief history is that not long after the game had died, somebody came forward and said that they represented the interests of a Russian dev who could go ahead and rebuild the game if he was given $1,000. So this guy was trying to raise money to get this Russian dev to go ahead and get his bounty, so to speak, to begin working on the game again. Now, this guy who was trying to raise the money did come forward on some of my videos and say, hey, you know, what I was doing was real. I don't know if the Russian dev was ever actually going to do it or not, but I honestly was doing the best that I could to get this guy to do it. So he came forward, and basically what I'm saying is that he said, hey, look, I'm not a troll. I'm not trying to get people's money. I'm acting as the English-speaking representative of this Russian guy who wants to do the game, but he just wants to get paid for his efforts. So if you do encounter that guy who way back when, I believe it was Rebirth, was what was tagged to the title at the time, he, you know, he's basically told me, hey, man, you know, not me. So, and nobody really took the bait and wanted to give the guy the money anyway, so the project went nowhere. So if you do encounter posts about the Rebirth project and everything, do know that the guy was trying his best, and when he says, hey, I wasn't trolling, I wasn't trying to steal your money, like a broken Kickstarter or something, I do believe that particular guy. So after that one faded, the next one up was Gaming Life Beginner, or as we refer to as GLB. GLB was somewhat active on Reddit. It looked like things were going and starting, so a Discord got formed for the community to form up under GLB and begin to do the content, begin to do the recolors and the renames and everything. And then GLB basically said, crap guys, look, I'm sorry. He didn't say he was in the Philippines, but we had since discovered that he was. Hey, look, I'm in the Philippines. I'm the only person in my house of a large amount of family members who is actually able to work. My mom this, my sister that, my other sister this, my brother that. I don't really have the time that I expected to have to code this game to get it back up, because I'm going to be A, spending a lot of time looking for a job, and then B, a lot of time working that job when I get it. So we started to fade out, and then he said, yeah, this is really definitely an issue, and he like kicked everybody off the Reddit. He invited several members back, including myself. I had messaged him thinking something had gone wrong, but I didn't know everybody was deliberately kicked. So I messaged him before I found out that the kick was meaningful. And he was like, oh man, yeah, that's right. I forgot somebody that was supposed to get allowed back in. So he invited me back in, and ooh, that's loud. We discovered that the kick was on purpose, and he was just kind of really beginning to clear house a little bit there. 2 triple threats? Strange. So, a little odd. The triple threat sound was still going. What? Ooh, that's odd. Okay. So, you know, that's right. I can't target from the bars. I'm gonna have to get used to that. So, GLB basically went very, very far underground, and for several months we didn't hear from him until he said something around Christmas, and it seemed positive, and then eventually he came out and said, okay, I'm shooting for a release date of the beta around the time of Marvel Avengers Infinity War's release in the United States, which we know was originally going to be May, but then it got backed up into April, or pushed forward into April, rather. Alright, we've got a crash, unfortunately. And then he eventually did come out and say, yeah, it's totally not happening at all, whatsoever. So, a new dev by the name of Goofy Troll began working on it. Well, this is weird. I bet you... Not on the volume mixer this time. Maybe I have to make a sound first? Let's see when it shows up under the volume mixer. Hey! Here's some guys I haven't fought yet. Or fought with. Oh, the volume stayed the same this time. Okay. So, it was around this time when Goofy Troll happened to, and I didn't know this until recently, Goofy Troll was searching around YouTube for any information on the possibility of Marvel Avengers Alliance coming back. He encountered my videos talking about the GLB version of it, and he went out and discovered that the source code was out there, the real source code, not the fake zip that just had the pictures. I was like, okay, I know some coding. I'm going to begin working on this. So I did not know until this week that, in a way, I was the link between the GLB version of this that never really saw the light of day and Goofy Troll getting a hold of it. And it's kind of blowing my mind because, you know, here I am doing videos just trying to keep people up to date, and, you know, sometimes I had hype videos where it was good news, and then a lot of times I had bad news videos where, you know, GLB was saying he had to go away, and then he was saying that he could do it, then he was saying he really couldn't do it. So it was a roller coaster, but I truly never expected to expose the possibility of this coming back to somebody who actually could. And that really plays hell with my brain, because I'm not the kind of arrogant person that's ever going to be like, hey man, like, it's my videos that started all this. Part 3. You know, if we say the Russian guy's part 1, the GLB guy's part 2, Goofy Troll's version's part 3. Like, I would never... Two of them? That's strange. So... there's like a certain weight of this in my brain. It's like, wow, I totally never knew that just by doing a video of this that I would reach people who could actually do it. It was, you know, never my intention. I never did a video like, hey, here's this great game, devs, let's put a bounty out on this. So for people who have jailbroken or rooted phones, you know that if you go to those communities in XDA developers, there's people who will put bounties on phones like, hey, this phone came out, I'm putting $1,000 bounty to the first guy who roots it or jailbreaks it. Like, I never did a video like that in Marvel Avengers Alliance, and here comes a guy who's like, I want to rebuild this game. We have the tools, we have the way, we just don't have the $6 million. So, what you're seeing on the screen right over here, and I'll bring up this, we'll do a side-by-side comparison. So this is the first video that I had ever done on Marvel Avengers Alliance. And it was back, as you can see here, March 12th of 2013. So it had been out for a little while. I was level 49. I had barely any friends. I mean, these were actually people I knew from World of Warcraft and everything. So, and they just happened to also play, but my friends list was absolute shit. And I was listening to the beginning of this video, and I heard myself say something back then that I'd completely forgotten. Marvel Avengers Alliance won the 2012 VGA Spike Award for the best social game. Who remembers that? Who ever talks about the fact that in 2012, Marvel Avengers Alliance, in its first year, won an award for the game? Does that not blow your mind? Is that not crazy that this game that we enjoyed for 4 years and people either came in at the beginning or at the end, the middle, whatever, like this game won a game version of an Emmy or an Oscar or something like that, and that I had completely forgotten that, and I ended the game forgetting it. I was in the middle of the game, say 2014, and I had forgotten it. I played this game for so long, not remembering that it's technically an award-winning game. Who here knows this shit? I forgot this shit. So, my origin story here. So you're seeing the first video that I had ever done on it. I actually got involved with the game during the game's beta. So this is what happened. Back in 2012, there was a station that would eventually be called Spike TV and would eventually be called the Esquire Network that was called G4 TV. G4 TV had two gaming-related shows, X-Play and Attack of the Show, although Attack of the Show was not always specifically gaming-related, it was pop culture. But X-Play definitely was, and at the time, if I remember correctly, it was Adam Sessler who was on there. So Adam Sessler was interviewing Justin Woods, and Justin Woods is talking about this game, and I quote, a Facebook-level game that he wanted to make as epic as Final Fantasy VII. I will never, ever, ever, ever forget that quote from him, because I immediately turned around and mentioned it to a good friend of mine that I had been gaming with since like 2000, 2001, and he's like, ha, FF7, yeah, right. So basically he was like, yeah, like some Facebook game is going to achieve the level of Final Fantasy VII. And let's be honest, whether you liked Marvel Avengers Alliance or not, it did not achieve the level of Final Fantasy VII. However, it certainly held our interest longer than Final Fantasy VII. I mean, who was a religious active player of FF7 back 4 years after, after it happened? 4 years after it happened, I mean, let's see, that was, I got that Christmas of 97, so we're going to say 2001. Yeah, we were already on Final Fantasy X by that point. Who honestly gave that big of a shit about FF7? So in a way, it was better than FF7, but obviously it had active content and everything, so you can't really compare it. But look, there's that advanced idea. There's the Mahi Yuga, and that set and everything. So, my interest was piqued in it at that time, hearing that interview with Justin, and I was a beta hound at the time. My channel at this point was basically World of Warcraft videos, tech videos on rooting devices, rooting tablets, rooting phones, rooted devices, how to root them, some of the things you could do once they're rooted. God, look at that roster. My roster is only a page and a half deep. Look at that roster, buddy. Look at that. Even X-23 was in the game at that point, but look at Punisher was coming. Punisher was listed as coming over there. Anyway, this is a trip down memory lane. So Justin gave out beta codes, and I used the code, and I got into the game on Facebook, and then I got my badge of honor, the X-Play X gadget. Like, I ran into maybe one person in the 4 years that we played this game who said, I had that too. That little gadget was the thing that I most want when this game comes back. Like, because that was my badge of, I was here first. That was like my little hipster thing of I was doing it before anybody else was. So, I started playing in the beta, and I followed it all the way through into live, and I really got interested in it But there was definitely a point, and this is probably it right here, where you can see the 23-hour flight decks, where all I did was I logged in every day, I recycled my 24-hour flight deck, and I logged out. Because I didn't really have enough friends to get anything done. If a Spec Ops happened, I couldn't visit enough people for the shit. It wasn't until I found the wiki, I believe it was, and they had a post of like, post here if you need friends. The moment I did that and I stepped out of my comfort zone of, well, Facebook is only people that I, like, quote unquote know, because that was the dangerous thing about Marvel Avengers at the time. You had to be friends with them on Facebook to get them in the Marvel Avengers Alliance, which is different from a lot of other social games. So I was like, I don't know if I want these randos on my Facebook. I kind of got over that. And I have since made a bucket of friends through the game. Some people that I even talk to consistently today. And I also have a lot of people that have even like wildly different political views than me, but we're still friends on Facebook because we were tied together from Marvel Avengers Alliance. And so once I got enough friends and I began to complete like the Spec Ops and everything like that, I think it was around the Rescue Spec Ops, that's when things like really took off for me. And I went from being this like, I'm just going to recycle the flight deck every 24 hours, kind of a scrub, to the guy who would finish off with every character, have them all max leveled, have multiple adamantium finishes and everything like that, or, you know, a couple years worth of adamantium finishes down the end and such. So, yeah, that's my backstory on it. I was a member of the beta, and I can thank Sessler and X-Play and everything for that. That famous Justin Woods quote of like, I want this to be like Final Fantasy VII, and that's when it hooked me. And eventually a person who saw a lot of my videos, Sumiyoshi's like, hey, I would like to get you in this alliance. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that. He's like, no, dude, like, you have no idea. Your videos along with Kingfisher are very popular. We got a lot of people watch them. Yeah, come to this alliance. And that was AP, the adamantium process. I'm like, oh shit, I've definitely seen adamantium AP people. I was like, wow, somebody wants to get me into AP. That's, you know, you've probably had those games that you played, MMOs or first-person shooters, and you see clans and guilds that you're like, oh man, that's the cream of the crop right there. And I was like, wow, somebody wants to get me into AP. I don't think I'm good enough for AP. And I got in there, and a lot of people were like, holy shit, Napalm Dawn is here. I'm like, what? I'm a thing? Like, yeah, I get Kingfisher's a thing. I'm a minor thing because Kingfisher got me into it. And I've always told people, the thing is invincible in PvP. That's the video that did it all for me. That's the video with the, specifically what he was trying to do with the Emerald Prism and jack up things defense every time he got hit. Oh, nice. 2 Hulks and an Invisible Woman. I feel like this is a date that's going to go really, really bad for Invisible Woman. So we'll just beat on Whiplash a little bit. God, I love Hulk sound effects. That punch, man. But anyway, so that was the video that made me say, this game is a chess match. There were so many interesting things I could do in this game, and so many really fucked up combos, and that's what really unlocked me to be the deep thinker or the idea guy by the time Marvel Avengers Alliance was done. And you know, some people will hear me talk about like the streaming and my videos versus Kingfisher's, and they'll be like, oh well, you know, did you have an axe to grind with him? And the answer was no. I mean, you can't. It's God. I mean, how can you have an axe to grind with the origination of it all. I mean, I know there were other people like the Inhuman Beatdown and CJ, I think was one of them, and maybe somebody called Click Skills. Oh no, I never really watched Click Skills videos, but you can't disparage the originator of like why you're doing the thing. I mean, like, if you got into baseball because you saw Don Mattingly and you're like, Don Mattingly's the best, how do you ever get into baseball, become good, and then turn around and like shit on Don Mattingly? That's how I feel about it. We were different people and we provided different things, and I think that was good. He had very refined and well polished videos. Mine were more off the cuff and at times funny. And I put my failures up there because, let's be honest, everybody needed to know even good players of the game were human. And that's what I think was the key to my streams, and what I enjoyed the most about, you know, my videos and everything, is that even my failures were up there because people needed to know, hey, sometimes ideas don't work. And that's perfectly okay. Sometimes you will have the best thought out idea. And, I mean, anybody who's played Magic the Gathering has probably looked at 2 cards and been like, man, look at the deck that I can make these 2, and this will be great because I'll play this, and then I'll play that, and then I'll play this, and the game's over in 5 rounds. Anybody who's played chess has probably been like, I know the best opening of all time. I will beat Bobby Fischer. I will beat Deep Blue. And then it doesn't work. That's what I like to do. You know, with Marvel Avengers Alliance and everything, is that there were times where you just had to be honest and be like, hey, I had this really great idea, and as you can see, this thing never procs, this thing always misses, this thing is easily defeated by this, and it just fails. So that's why I think when it came to content producers for Marvel Avengers Alliance, it was very easy for the community to have, you know, multiple streamers, multiple video people, because nobody just sat and regurgitated what the other person did, or just made the exact same videos, you know. We all just did our thing, and we did it differently, you know, vanilla frozen yogurt, chocolate frozen yogurt, peanut butter cup frozen yogurt, just plenty of different flavors. And I think that's how we were able to survive. So, oh, I can't go back from here. So yeah, that was my first video, and as you can see, it got almost 4,000 views, but it only had one comment chain on here. So for the 4,000 people that viewed this, and the 9 thumbs up and the 3 thumbs down, at least there's one comment. Unfortunately, it seems like Iron Fist hosed the game over here. So if you are in the alpha, this is what the structure looks like. I'm confident to go ahead and put this on video because people need to know that I'm not faking. This is the thing. This is a flash file. This is the executable. So when you get the game, when it actually releases or goes into beta, we get it in the hands of more people, you will get a zip file that will unzip into something like this, and then this will be the executable that starts it. So the plan is, because these questions come up, here's how everything is going to work out when it actually comes out. All original content will be in the release, just altered to fit the fact that it's going to be offline and single player. And a version of the game that will come out will be how the game ended, which is good and bad. It means everybody that was in the game in 2016 will be available. Great. However, some of the nerfs that Playdom gave us throughout the history will unfortunately still be there. So we will have received the stamina nerf. We will have received the Heroic Age Iron Fist nerf, the Amazing Spider Tits nerf, and, you know, all of those, the unfixed Kurth and Elite ISO. Again, I want to mention, Kurth and the Elite ISO was not actually the problem. It was when you were unstunnable and you had the elite ISO. That was the problem. Kurth was not stunnable, therefore she had the double drain. If you had anybody who could not be stunned and they wore the elite ISO also, you would get the same thing. Kurth was just the popular one. PvPs, Spec Ops, and Covert Ops will be released on a schedule based on the original release dates. Since this is an offline game that connects to no server and connects to no internet connections. Hello, my cat. Hi, buddy. He essentially a new updated zip will be put up on Mega, if that's the host for it. And I'll say, okay, if you download this now, you're now downloading the version with Covert Ops #1. So you will be running patches that you grab that Goofy produces when a Covert Ops comes out, when a Spec Ops. So it'll be in your best interest to keep up with how things are going so that you can pull down a patch and play. You have to play through the first 6 chapters before you unlock anything, then each of the first 5 missions will unlock some new things. PvP, Spec Ops, Covert Ops, general release characters, etc. Any time limits will be in days logged in. PvP, 1 PvP at a time. The first season will have 25 teams divided into 5 ranks, easiest to hardest. Beat a certain number of battles per rank to advance. Complete the 5 ranks to get the character. So I know a little bit about what's happening here is that people went in PvP's history and saw the most common heroes and gear loadouts of the time and created AI-based teams that were around those characters and around that gear. So you were kind of playing an AI version of what it was like to do PvP Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, a time-warped version of it. The team list may expand if enough people submit their teams. Rewards are identical to the seasons as you advance. If you unlock the next one, you can start that upon beating lockboxes, blah, blah, blah. So what we're saying is eventually you will relive what it is like to get into the Pesty and Enchantress meta when it happens, or the Pesty Satana meta, or the Pesty Demon Set meta with the flaming shotgun. If you start with this game as it comes released, get to relive what it was like when things were new, even if you were not part of that game at the time. So if you started in 2015 and you're like, man, the Pesty Red Hulk era when that was the hot team, that would be so amazing. I would love to do a team like that. You will have that happen. Spec Ops, unlimited time. There's hard versions of it, so there'll be the normal version, which is easy, and hard, aka heroic or super heroic. The difficulty will add time or battle limits, limited to 1 SO at a time. ISOs will be universal. You'll receive them through visiting allies, so there's going to be fake allies in this. And all gear will be received in the same way as the original. Covert Ops, just like the original limited time, collect the same. Now, you can trick, unless he hard coats a date in there, you can essentially trick the game into staying with a Spec Ops or Covert Ops forever by just not downloading the new patch that says, okay, that Spec Ops is over, here's the new one. Nobody's going to stop you. You're just now going to start to fall out of date. Gold sale items will be added for yet an undetermined gold price. To replace gold sales, I may add the occasional discount in the store for gold cost items. Remember, you will not spend a dime on this game. It is not possible to do it because there is no currency exchange. You will not be exchanging US American dollars to get gold. You're not going to be doing an offer to go to a 1-800-Flowers and get 24 gold or 64 gold or something because you got your mom some fucking flowers for Valentine's Day. They will also be unlocked as part of the release schedule and will be one of the rare reward items. The only way to give yourself an item will be through a cheat code programmed in, not likely, or by hacking the game. So, what that means there is this. There were hacks in the game when it was online and on Facebook. The hacks allowed you to cheat in PvP. They allowed you to do forced roulettes. There definitely were all kinds of crazy things at the time. Of course, we all know what the PvP cheats were and how awful they were. What he's saying about the cheats and everything is essentially, if you remember Doom or StarCraft, how there were cheat codes built in that allowed you to give yourself invincible units or speed up production, or ones in Doom like IDDQD, IDKFA, ID Clip, ID Precipid, and everything. There'll be codes that allow you to do things in the game. It's not cheating in the Marvel Avengers Alliance sense anymore because nobody cares. You're not fighting against another person. You're not trying to beat getting gear or characters before they do. You're not fighting real PvP teams. So you're not actually committing aimbot level cheating or anything like that. It's no different than playing Doom and activating invincible mode or all guns mode or all, infinite ammo mode. You're only cheating yourself out of the experience of the game. If you want to cheat and give yourself 65 gold and buy that weapon rather than farm for the gold, okay, I'm not going to come to your house and kick your dog for doing that. You'll just have to know that you cheated to do it. And hey, we all have our different levels of what we're willing to accept for that. I accidentally, in Borderlands 2, sold off a gun that I really liked. It was a sniper called the Scarlet Pimpernel. It came from the Captain's Booty DLC. Great sniper, probably one of the best in Borderlands history. Very powerful. Accidentally sold it to a vendor and did not realize it until the next play session when I was like, oh shit, I can't even buy it back. So I went online, I said, guys, how do I get this back without playing through the entire DLC again? And they were like, well, you can get an editor called Gibbed and just use the code and give yourself the item back. And I went, oh. And then that's when I got into some minor Borderlands 2 cheating, and I gave myself some really, really crazy guns. Ooh, this is a fun combo over here. So, that was a level of cheating that I was okay with, because I had already gone through everything in the game, and it was just hysterical to use these ridiculously overpowered guns that, like, had infinite ammo, but fired like Doom's BFG. Or, if you're a Borderlands 2 player, you know it's called the Norfleet, but I gave myself, like, a Norfleet with infinite ammo and shit. Nobody's gonna care about that. Nobody's gonna hate me as a human being for having done that. But, it just changes the real enjoyment of the game. So if you're gonna want to cheat in this, go ahead. Nobody's gonna stop you. And honestly, nobody's really gonna care. So that's what to expect when you were expecting Marvel Avengers Alliance. I hope you enjoyed seeing some additional footage of the game over here. This play session's been more stable. I have not updated the game. Goofy has not released an updated version, but today it is admittedly playing a little bit more stable. And I'm getting to see characters and villains that I've never fought before in this alpha. So, there you go, guys. I know we're a little long here at about 33 minutes or so, but I'll wrap up the video, say stay tuned to the channel. I'm thinking about bringing back the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. We're probably not going to have a lot of content every single week, but I may do it. So take care, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out.